This is After the Flag, round 13 of the 2022 MotoGP World Championship has drawn to a conclusion here at the Red Bull Ring. It's a race that, if you look at the result or you look at who won, maybe it did go to form in the end. Pecco Bagnaia taking victory for Ducati, a 7th victory for them at the Red Bull Ring as he continues his chase in the World Championship to close in on Fabio Quartararo. There was certainly a lot more to the Grand Prix, though, than that. Bagnaia, though, crucially making that jump at the start to get the advantage over Enea Bastianini, Jorge Martin and Jack Miller. And it has to be said, Simon Crafar, of course, as always, who joins me for After the Flag, that with the exception of that one move from Jack Miller, Bagnaia seems to have that under control. Is that how you'd view it?
Yeah, I do. Even Jack said that when he showed him the wheel, in Parc Ferme, that Pecco just stepped it up another level and left Jack with his tongue hanging out, trying to hang on, which was pretty cool of Jack to admit, And Pecco did pretty much the perfect day today, I think. He did what he needed to do, pulled it off perfectly, which is not easy, and also considered the risk, made sure El Le Mans didn't happen and lose a bunch more points. It was a really clever ride. And also, I believe these guys, when they mentioned they made the wrong, they think, tyre choice on the front, because you could kind of see it, that they hit a wall and struggled. Jack was running wide a bit and turning in and trying to be defensive. I really do think that they did make the wrong front tyre choice, going with the soft over the hard.
And interestingly, they both changed rear tyre options on the grid just before the race. They both switched to the medium rear option, both Bagnaia and Miller. So they certainly were on the fence before the race started in terms of what tyre they were going to go with. Of course, there was concerns about the weather before the Grand Prix as well, whether we were going to have any rain in the Grand Prix. Fortunately, it just stayed away. There were spots that were falling immediately after the Grand Prix finished, which that really would have thrown a double six at the end of the Grand Prix.
A big style. That's why I mentioned the teams were warming up the bikes repeatedly, keeping them at running temperature the whole GP, and I genuinely was going, oh no. I mean, it's great for the action, but I feel so sorry for the riders and teams when that does happen, because it's proper chaos down there. It's scary. To go out in different conditions, and like we saw last year, it was entertaining but scary.
Especially so late in a Grand Prix. So for Pecco Bagnaia now, that's now the last 5 Grand Prix that he's seen the checkered flag in, he's won them. So he's got a real run of form going, a real level of consistency going on. Looking long term as far as the World Championship's concerned, obviously there's a 2-part question to this, because of course him being able to chase down Fabio Quartararo is reliant on Quartararo making mistakes and dropping points. But as far as Bagnaia and doing what he needs to do, you can't really ask much more from him. And with the races to come, that confidence that he can still pull this championship back is just going to build and build.
Yeah, I mean, how I see it is Pecco is very good. He's very clever. You only have to speak to him to realise that he's clever, gentleman, and damn fast. For Jack on the same bike to say, I had my tongue hanging out, the guy is fast. And he has, sorry to say it, Pecco, but the best machine. So when he turns up, doesn't make a mistake, he's doing what the whole package is capable of, and it's scary, because I think he can keep doing it.
I guess the big unknown from this Grand Prix going forwards is we'll never know where Enea Bastianini would have figured in that. In the early stages of the Grand Prix, of course, he was in that battle amongst the Ducatis. From your point of view, we'll get a word from you in a moment on what you think happened to Enea Bastianini, but we can cross live to the interview set now and hear from the reigning world champion, Fabio Quartararo, putting in a truly champion's ride to come through and finish second just behind Pecco Bagnaia. He can give us his thoughts now with Matt Burr.
Yeah, the world champion has produced a lot of world champion rides so far in 2022, and that was certainly right up there, not just this year, Fabio, but probably in your whole career. 28 qualifying laps, really. Second place here, the only non-Ducati inside the top 6. Was that the best second place of your career? Feels like a win?
Feels not like a win, because we have 20 points. But of course, to prepare an overtake is something that is the most difficult for us. And actually we did it well, was really nice. And especially the move on Jack in the chicane, also to Enea. So was nice, and I think that today I take a little bit of confidence on my riding style. After 2 tough races, it was great to be back and feel our potential. And today I fought like a lion, and some move was really nice.
You fought like a lion. Let's just go back to lap 25. There's so many moments we could talk to you about in that Grand Prix because you were full gas on the limit every lap, but through the new chicane, lap 25, talk us through that fantastic move on Jack Miller. We were just talking off camera, you said it's probably one of the best overtakes of your career, so just talk about how you set it up and how it felt to sweep up the inside of him.
Well, I brake a little bit too late and he braked a little bit earlier than the previous laps, so I said, okay, I'm giving a try and maybe he will cross the line, but I have to try something because on the braking I cannot catch him, so I have to make a kind of move like that. And it's what happened, and you know, I think he was a little bit surprised and could not cut me back, but I heard, I think, was Martin on the left, but I didn't want nobody to overtake me, so it was a really nice move.
Would you say it was one of the best passes of your career?
I think yes, because I didn't make many overtakes in my career, to be honest. Because I think we are struggling to overtake, but of course this one was one of my best, and yeah, I rate it at least in the top 3.
You have had difficult races in Assen and Silverstone, 2 tracks where we expected you to do well, so to come here in Austria, a track that we know has always been difficult for Yamaha, this must give you such a massive lift to be fighting the Ducatis and to show that you're riding probably better than ever. Yeah,
I think it's giving me a big boost for the future, because I feel that Mizano is, of course, Pecco, Ducati are super fast there, but we are also super fast there. And this race, I think, is giving me a good boost for the future.
And do you think if it was a 29-lap race, you could have actually won it?
I don't know, but you know, it's always super easy to say 1 more lap or 2 more laps. It's 28 laps for everyone, but I think 1 or 2 more laps I could have tried something, but sorry Fabio, but it's too late.
Fabio, it was amazing to watch you ride so hard in that race. The thoroughly deserved 20 points. You still lead the World Championship by 32 points over Aleix Espargaro. Great job today, Fabio.
Thank you very much.
I think he would have taken 20 points in second place when he got on the plane to Austria on Thursday. Not only the fact that he finished second at the Red Bull Ring, which is not a Yamaha-friendly track on paper, but it wasn't as if he was at the front and stayed there. He had to overtake his way to second place.
And overtaking on his bike, he mentioned there a couple of times. I'd like to explain why, if that's all right. Yes, everyone knows his engine is down on acceleration, on pure horsepower, compared to the Ducatis he's fighting out there. And the reason it makes it so difficult to overtake is not just because you think about the straight and you can overtake, is to overtake, everyone's quite similar on the brakes. You know, they've got the same components basically so you can't leap past someone. You will crash. You'll do a Martin on turn 1. So you need the engine and the drive and the tyre to help get you close so you can squeeze by on the brakes. But if he hasn't got the engine, the acceleration to get close, he has to take too much risk, so he can't overtake. So you need, like, you know, those Mugello type chicanes or something where you don't accelerate or brake, you just change your line and stuff it in there, which he did today brilliantly.
He did it brilliantly. Second place for him, but he just ran out of laps to chase down Pecco Bagnaia, who took yet another victory. His championship challenge continues to gather momentum. Victory for him in the Austrian Grand Prix, his 3rd in a row. He's talking to Matt.
Yeah, Pecco Bagnaia, the first Ducati rider since Casey Stoner in 2008 to win 3 MotoGP races on the trot. Pecco, that wasn't easy. You made it look quite easy, but I guess the whole race was set up because you had that great start from second on the grid and you were able to lead into first corner and keep out of trouble in the chicane as well.
Yeah, I tried to do the best start possible. I also did a mistake with the gear because I entered through the first corner with the 3rd gear, and that was a bit long, but anyway, I'm very happy about today because it was one of the hardest of the year because I did the safetier choose for the front tire, but in this condition today finally wasn't the best choose. I was expecting some drop of the rain or a drop of the temperature, but then was everything okay. So maybe the hard was a bit better because I had a lot of problem with the front locking. But anyway, I'm very happy. We did another really good job this weekend. My team did an incredible job this weekend, so I'm very happy about everything.
you only really sort of lost the lead very, very quickly. Jack came underneath you early on at turn number 9. What was your view of that move? Because you got him straight back, sort of Dobby versus Marquez in the final corner.
No, I just try to. When I see Jack overtook me, I said, okay, I have to be a bit more faster. So I just try to be more fast on the pace, and I was able to do it. So at the start I was just struggling with the front tire because I was losing time on the braking with the fuel tank, full fuel tank, and with the soft tire. But then everything came well. And I was just struggling a lot in the last 5-6 laps, more the last 2 because I was completely without tires and Fabio was gaining a lot of time.
I remember seeing you after Germany and you were so disappointed, so dejected, but since then the way you've turned it around and Ducati has been so impressive. The wins in Aston, Silverstone and now here in Austria. I mean, do you feel like you're in the best moment of your MotoGP right now? You're riding the best and the feeling with the bike is at its highest level?
I think yes. My best moment for sure, because in a critical situation we transformed that moment in a good way with the work of my family, the work of my girlfriend, and the work of my team. I mean Ducati team, but also World 46 team. So thanks to them and thanks to me also, we did a good step. We understand that what to improve, and I think I did a step in front on that area. But maybe it's too early to say something. Just wait the next week and just wait the finish of the year to understand in which area I have to work again.
But this must now make you so confident, so looking forward to the next 2 races, Mizano and Aragon, where we know that you and the bike are very, very strong.
Yeah, really looking forward before to go to Mizano because it's an incredible weekend for me. My home Grand Prix, so it's great to race there. But let's see. I don't want to put pressure on me. I just want to do the weekend like we did in this weekend, in this race, and try to be smart, to understand every situation, and try to be in front again.
We mentioned initially about the Casey Stoner stat. I'm sure you like that one. This one, I'm sure will put a smile on your face as well. You're only the 2nd Italian rider in MotoGP, apart from Valentino Rossi, to win 3 races in a row in the Premier Class. So great job, Pecco. Well done. I'm sure the boss will be happy at home.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure he will be. Valentino Rossi will be very pleased with what he saw from Pecco Bagnaia today. Interesting comments there, self-reflective comments really there from Pecco Bagnaia. It's easy to forget that he's at the same stage in terms of his career as Fabio Quartararo. He's in his 3rd season, or he's only got a few years of experience, should I say, in MotoGP. So he's still a developing rider in many sectors. We forget how young he is, and he was speaking there the fact that he still feels he's got some maturing to do as a person and as a rider.
Well, I think that is the key of being a top sports person, is non-stop trying to be better, because everyone else, well, the people that do that are going to beat you otherwise. And just to my gut feeling about coming into Mizano, he's very good. It's his backyard. That's what he calls it. You know, he knows it so well, and he's been the man to beat at Mizano. I think from what Fabio said, Fabio's going to put some big pressure on him there. And then we're going to see who's going to crack at Mizano. I think it's going to be a good battle. I'm looking forward to see it. But one other thing, leaping across about Fabio, I know we've got Ducati on screen, is Fabio mentioned something that for the future, and yes, Mizano, but my feeling standing back is what Fabio is learning right now for the future. I'm thinking next year when they turn up with a bit more power, and he's going to be really difficult to beat.
He certainly is. Well, let's hear from the rider that joined him and Pecco Bagnaia on the podium. Back-to-back podiums for Jack Miller, who threw everything at it today at his teammate and at Fabio Quartararo. He held off the late challenge. Jorge Martin for 3rd. He's talking to Matt.
Jack, you said yesterday it was important to keep this ball rolling. You did just that in that race, one that it looks like you enjoyed. That's 3 third places now in the last 4 races, and this second half of the season momentum rolls on.
Yeah, exactly. Keep the ball rolling, as you said. No, really happy with how the race went. I mean, I felt like I had a little bit more, but no, I sort of had that lunge at Pecco early on. Felt like I could push the pace a little bit more, and then yeah, when I showed the wheel to him, he sort of put the pedal down a couple extra tenths every lap, and was sort of with my tongue hanging out, just trying to hang with him. But no, he did a fantastic race, especially with the front. Was able to manage it. I wasn't able to do so. Was losing it on the left hand side, especially. And but nonetheless, able to bring it home on the podium. You know, we did what we needed to do. I was suffering a lot in that first chicane, and yeah, Fabio made me look stupid there. So it was just that left hand side, just lacking the confidence to really slap the bike down, and he had plenty of confidence at that point in the race. So no, hat off to him. It was a good fight, and then yeah, hat off to the team. I mean, it's an amazing time to be here and to be a part of it. I mean, this run of form that he's got going and how he's going for the championship's awesome, and it's just nice to be in the box and be a part of it.
I'll try and make you feel a little bit better. I don't feel stupid, mate, because Fabio just stood here a few minutes ago and said that's one of his top 3 overtakes he's made in his entire career through that chicane. So what was your view of it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he passed me like I was standing still. Like, I felt like I prepped it pretty well. Like I said, I didn't feel like I charged the chicane very much, especially later on in the race, because if I slapped the bike down, I'd lose the front. And as I sort of went to prep to go through the next part, he just went pop, pop, and he was gone, you know, and I was like, wow. All right, then. Seems like he's working good, but no, it was you know, cool, and we all sort of went in there 3 wide up at the top end of the track. I mean, give you a bit of a show. I mean, not the classic Pecco runaway. At least we were able to put on a bit of a show.
You always give us a show, Jack, and it went right down to the last lap in that battle for the podium. We saw Jorge Martin come up the inside of you, up the hill into turn 1. What was your view of what happened?
I mean, ambitious. He wanted to come through. I grabbed the brakes, tried to pull it up a little bit for the cutback because I could see he wasn't even going to stay on the track, and off he went. So, yeah, it is what it is. Just lucky to be not caught up in that, and then I was just honestly after that I saw on the tally I had a bit of a gap. So just I was having a lot of issues towards the end there, especially on the left hand side. And then once he was gone, I was just sort of don't crash all the rest of the lap, just saying don't crash, bring this home. And no, we were able to do so.
And like I say, mate, a great time for you personally and for Pecco and the team in general. Home race next time, Mizano, Aragon, some tracks that are good coming up for you and the bike. So you must be hoping that there's another win to Jack this year sometime.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I could challenge for it today, and that's, you know, one thing on its own, that you go into the race with confidence that you know you can sort of challenge for it. Wasn't to be today, but like you say, we've got some great tracks coming up. Phillip Island's on the cards, so I'll be throwing it all at that one. But no, we've got some awesome tracks coming up, and a few more opportunities to really try and put a couple more, hopefully if not one more, on the board before we switch the colours.
Awesome tracks coming up, buddy. Awesome job again for you today. Well done, Jack.
Cheers, Thank you.
Such a valuable asset to the Ducati factory, which sounds like a strange thing to say given that he's departing them at the end of the season, but he certainly knows his role within that Ducati team. He's happy to be a team player within that squad, even if Bagnaia is the man who's challenging for the World Championship. We heard his view of the last lap battle with Jorge Martin in the incident into turn 1 where Martin lost the front trying to overtake him for the podium. What was your view on it?
Well, when you see the response from the team, you know, his crew chief, and they weren't happy. Early on, he was a bit ragged with Bastianini, and we know there's a big, you know, duel on for the seat in the factory team between them. But I don't think Jorge today did anything good towards getting that seat. I think he took a step backwards because the way he handled the passes with Bastianini, then Jack's not impressed, you know, because he said clearly wasn't stopping, it was too ambitious. To be fair, it's a fine line, you know, between glory and, you know, pain. But, yeah, Jorge didn't do himself any favours. Let's get back to Jack. I'm so happy for Jack because everyone in this paddock, I'm not exaggerating, knows Jack's talent. And he's a great guy, like everyone likes him. And it's so cool to finally see Jack with a setup on a bike that allows him to show the talent he's got, you know. And I really believe he played it down. And Matt, you know, when Matt put it to him, but I really believe Jack's here to stay for the end, till the end of the season, you know, bar some problems. But I really think he's going to be more than once back on the box.
Yeah, you feel since that set-up breakthrough at the Catalan test, he's been on that consistent level ever since then. We touched upon Jorge Martin and, of course, that early battle with Enea Bastianini. Bastianini would soon retire from the Grand Prix. In terms of that battle that we're building up between the two of them for the factory Ducati seat, Bastianini, in many respects, didn't get the opportunity to plead his case today.
Exactly.
From your point of view, when you were down there, what did you see on that Crescini Ducati that might have contributed to his retirement?
He was struggling. It was really clear he was struggling in the braking area. 2 braking zones in a row. He mucked up Zarco's race because it wasn't Bastianini's fault, but he was struggling to stop. And I thought, what's going on here? Then the next one, he did it again. He just went struggle straight ahead. And I thought it was brakes. So I went and had a look, and they were looking at the brake lead. He just pointed at the front of the bike and said, there's something wrong, you know. They were checking the brakes, like you would. Then they were scratching their head, spinning the tyre. I looked, there's no pieces missing out of the tyre, because it's another possibility. They had pressure in the tyre, but then I saw a big dent in the rim. The rim went round, then boring. And I realised that with such a dent, especially at high speed when the tyre grows, I think it was losing pressure. And when he got into the braking zone, with the lack of pressure, squashed the front tyre, you can't turn in. Ends up sitting on the rim and stepping up or locking. I think that's what happened.
So Enea Bastianini retiring from the Grand Prix in the end today, he did not score despite starting from his first pole position. We'll talk about the other championship contender, Aleix Espargaro, in just a moment. But before we get to him, 4th place today, how good was Luca Marini?
Oh, great, because we always rave about his teammate, and because his teammate's fantastic as well. Luca is really growing on me, you know, because I listen to the debriefs as we do every evening, and he's going to be as good as his brother, or half-brother, Valentino, at talking. You know, he's really good at explaining things, makes me realise how clever he is, and we've always said he's a slow burner. Meaning, you know, he's not just one of those guys that goes boring like his brother. He'll just keep chipping away, and he really is chipping away towards the top.
Johann Zarco was just behind him in 5th, as Simon mentioned. He was delayed behind Enea Bastianini, who had that problem. Of course, he had a poor first lap as well, Johann Zarco. In 6th place, we then found Aleix Espargaro. It was a tough day in the end for Aprilia. Maverick Vinales finishing down in 13th position, but in the grand scheme of things, given that this was built up as maybe a tough circuit for Aprilia, does 6th place represent a decent damage limitation exercise from Aleix?
Yeah, just focusing on Aleix, coming into this weekend, I remember saying to Amy, standing here at the Prix press conference, that the only concern for me, for Aleix this weekend, was not injury, but it was head. Like
what's going on here?
That's the front start device. You have to compress it on the brakes as you get to the start line with the button pushed. Once the forks lower a certain amount, click, this little pin goes in and it holds the fork down so you can get off the line without wheeling so much. He did the start without that because he couldn't get it engaged. Then we saw him do the start at the level we see a couple of years ago before the start devices, so everyone takes off and leaves him behind. And I feel sorry for him because he did a great turnaround, because coming into this weekend, I was worrying about him mentally after that crash, not so much physically. He struggled here, but he fought, like the words the boys keep using, like a lion through, and really rescued, figured out something, got on the pace, because he was having a torrid time, wasn't he, through practice qualifying, and then really rescued it today. So if this is a bogey track for him in Aprilia, he's done a great job. Yeah,
good salvage job for Aleix Espargaro. 32 points now is the gap between himself and Fabio Quartararo in the race for the title. 7th place went to Alex Rins today. A really mixed day for Suzuki in the end. Rins salvaging some points for them. But we have to just mention, if you're joining us live, the breaking news surrounding his teammate Joan Mir, who we saw high side out in the very early stages of the Grand Prix. Really rotten crash and rotten luck for the 2020 World Champion. He's got a fracture in his right ankle, which of course immediately puts him and his participation in the San Marino Grand Prix in doubt. It's been a tough run of races for Joan Mir. Of course, we never want to see any rider injured, but his tough run goes on, and you feel that it's perhaps down to the fact that he's not in a championship battle, that perhaps he is riding with perhaps a little bit more of a free spirit. Maybe he's got less to lose, but he's lost a lot today.
Well, the team's closing at the end of the year. He's not in the championship fight anymore. And I mentioned in, I think it was FP4 this weekend, that I feel that he's just gone, you know, caution to the wind. Let's see if I can get a result, risking everything. I'd rather risk crashing than finish down in the field. And I think that's how he's been approaching it. That's only my gut feeling. And the problem with that is either you get a result, which today a good one for him would have been 4th or something like that, 5th, and I really think it's possible, especially with what went on, Martin and Bastianini. I think he really could have been there. But the other side of that big risk is what happened today. And now my mind goes click. If he's done the deal with Honda, now he's got to click into, right, we just got to do everything for the preparation for the beginning of next year, get that injury fixed, and come out fighting.
Actually gave Alex Rins, his teammate, an extra position. He was 8th in the end because 7th went to Brad Binder on the KTM in the end. A top ride, and it has to be said, although he crashed out of the Grand Prix, it was a great day for both of the Binder brothers. Darren Binder was as high as 12th in the early stage of the Grand Prix. I'd love to see what happened on his opening lap of the Grand Prix to see how he made up all those places. But Brad Binder, once again, keeping KTM's head above water, and obviously it didn't quite work out for him due to an incorrect tyre choice on reflection at the British Grand Prix. But Brad, once again, really squeezing every last drop out of that KTM. Yeah, he was really angry with himself about tyre choice, along with Fabio not choosing that hard rear at Silverstone. Here, it was back to the Brad we know on Sunday. I was keeping an eye on them timing-wise, especially when they were together. Like you pointed out, the two Binder brothers. Darren's got it, you know. It's just such a shame. It looks like he won't get a shot at it next year. He's got it as well, meaning the ability to do what his brother's doing. I was watching lap times of Binder later in the race, and it was damn impressive. Brad, still in the 30s, equal to Jack, who was in 2nd at the time. So if they can, we keep saying it, if KTM can, they don't just need to improve their bike so he can be there, but especially in qualifying, to give him a chance to be there at the start of the race. Yeah, an entertaining late dice between Brad Binder and Aleix Espargaro, which was eventually won by the Aprilia man. Before we go then, let's look ahead a couple of weeks. The San Marino Grand Prix at Mizano. As mentioned, it's a circuit that in the last couple of years, we've been there twice in each of the last 2 years, has really certainly favoured Pecco Bagnaia and Ducati. Very nearly took his first victory there in 2020. He did win there in 2021. Nearly did the double, of course, the crash late on in the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. But we get the feeling, listening to Fabio Quartararo, from what he said in that interview, that he feels Yamaha will be in a much better position this year to take the fight to Pecco. Well, why I said what I did before about the future and Fabio, he said it, and I was already thinking it after watching him do so many good rides in a row. And the thing is, Fabio is pushing himself to another level. He's already amazing, but he's squeezing and squeezing and pushing, and he's not enjoying it. But the thing about that, pushing and pushing and pushing the level up, is when, one, he's going to be more of a problem for Pecco at Mizano, but two, like I said, next year, by pushing himself to that extra level, when they turn up with good bits for him, he's going to be more dangerous than he is this year, and a big problem for the opposition. Well, the mouth-watering prospect ahead of Mizano in a couple of weeks' time. Make sure you don't miss the San Marino Grand Prix at Mizano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. If you're watching us live, stay tuned. The press conference is next. If not, we will see you in a couple of weeks' time for round 14 of the 2022 MotoGP World Championship, the San Marino Grand Prix at Mizano. From myself and Simon, it's bye for now.
We're underway, and now Bastianini got away well from pole position. So did Pecco Bagnaia in the middle of that front row, and Bagnaia will swing straight into the lead. Bastianini just about holding on to second place from Miller.
Miller now has a go on Bastianini for second place. It is now in factory Ducati 1-2.
Martin's gone wide, he's made a mistake. And now Fabio Quartararo is going to be right on the rear tyre. Paul Martin, yeah, he's through.
Quartararo's in that Italian sandwich again.
Oh, brilliant by Fabio Quartararo. You can see that coming a mile off. Unbelievably close action here in MotoGP.
Oh, Martin through.
Oh, he's gone down. Pecco Bagnaia wins at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg in 2022.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the post-race press conference for the Crypto Data Grand Prix of Austria, round 13 of this year's MotoGP World Championship here at the Red Bull Ring. Congratulations to our podium